We've been asked to check out and review AEjuice's range of After Effects plugins. Now, whether you're a beginner or an experienced editor, AEjuice can offer you a range of tools to help speed up your workflow and also to make your work more visually exciting. In this video, we're going to take a look at the AEjuice I Want It All bundle, which you can check out via the link in our description below. Now, these plugins work across After Effects, Premiere Pro and Final Cut, but in this video, we're going to specifically take a look at using the plugins in After Effects. Firstly, you're going to want to download and install the software, and once you've done that, you want to head into After Effects, go to Window, and go to AEjuice Pack Manager 4. This is going to bring up the AEjuice toolbar, where you can see all the purchase packages from your I Want It All bundle. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff there to play with. Now, before you get started, it's really helpful to go to the account settings, where you can change the storage location to an external hard drive so that all the packs and effects you download will be stored there rather than taking up space on your computer's hard drive. Let's dive in and get started by taking a look at the aptly named starter pack. So once you click on a pack, you can scroll through and preview all the effects that it contains, and the starter pack gives a really solid range of overlays to use in your project. Scrolling through the starter pack for the first time, my eye was immediately drawn to the shape elements, and in here you've got things like moving arrows, expanding circles, and if you go down to shape elements too, you've got more of those in here as well. And what's really great about those is you can create them manually in After Effects, but it's very, very time consuming. So to have them here where you can quite easily just drag and drop them into your project really speeds up your workflow and allows you to save time when you're editing. Once you drag and drop these circle elements into your After Effects composition, you can edit them like you would any other After Effects element. So here I'm just going to increase the scale up to 200% to make that a little bit bigger. And you can add multiple elements into your After Effects composition and move and edit them just as you would any other element in After Effects. Carrying on scrolling through the starter pack, Motion Cafe UI really caught my eye as well. Lots of these very high-tech, technology-looking graphics can be really, really useful, particularly on corporate videos or videos with lots of animation, just to add some background interest and to really up your production value. I'm going to drop Scope 1 onto my composition now. And all of a sudden you can start to build something that would be quite complex and really, really time consuming to make manually in a couple of seconds and a couple of clicks, which is really, really helpful. Even just the starter pack itself contains so much that will be useful across a whole range of projects. Carrying on scrolling through, I really like the look of the tiled backgrounds, and that can be really useful to add into a composition to add a bit more subtle visual interest in the background. And again, like anything in After Effects, you can edit it using the normal components. So I'm just going to take down the opacity of this to make it a bit more subtle. And looking at the Essential Survival Kit too, this is really, really helpful. Things like counting numbers take a while again to create that effect manually, so having it here to be able to drag and drop on is a massive time saver. And just clicking through in the pre-composition, you can see you've got all the controls here to edit the text and the numbers to exactly what you want it to be. Scrolling through the starter pack, you can see you've got lots more here to play with. I really like the look of these lines, these kind of squiggly moving animated lines. They're often used in music videos, so that's really nice to have them at your disposal here. And carrying on scrolling through here, what I really like is there's a real mix of the basics, the circles, the arrows, counting numbers, as well as these light swipe transitions, the lightning, the animated backgrounds. So that's a quick look through the starter pack. We're now going to take a look at using them on a real world client project. In this recent promotional video for a sports event, our brief was to bring the footage to life with eye-catching animation and help this particular film feel fresh and different from the event videos that we'd produced for this client before. Now, having worked with After Effects for many years, there's certain techniques that you'll often find yourself replicating and relying on. And what was really great about having AEjuice to use in this project was to bring something new into our work. And what's more, the ease and speed of adding these new animation elements allowed us to deliver the edit faster than if we were recreating all these animation elements manually. Let's pick out some of the favourite AEjuice animations that we made in this video. Firstly, looking through the other packs that were available in the I Want It All bundle, my eye was drawn to the Prism Effect pack. You can download these easily by clicking the download button next to the pack. In any of the packs you download, you can double click and scroll through and preview all the effects and see how it's going to look before you drag and drop it onto your composition. So this particular shot of the person taking the photograph with the phone, it's a really nice shot, but we would want to draw attention to our subject in the purple t-shirt. So by adding the prism effect here, it not only makes the shot look really cool, but it also helps draw our eye onto the subject right in the centre of our frame. Now on this shot here, one of the players signing a ball for a fan, I've added a little bit of digital zoom just to make it more interesting. And then what I want to do now is go back to the starter pack. I'm going to add in those animated line effects that we talked about earlier. And there you go, nice and simply. It's a bit more visually interesting. In my time as an After Effects editor, I found that sometimes you want animations to be really prominent and take over the image, a bit like the prism, or to really stand out like the squiggly line. But sometimes you can also want them to be a bit more subtle. We've got the player warming up, that's already been speed ramped in Premiere Pro. I exported the clip into After Effects, duplicate the footage and put it on a layer above. And then what I'm going to want to do, starting my mask from when our player takes a step, Draw a very basic mask. Let's bring back a juice. And then I want to go to my shockwave and drag and drop this on. And we can just look to time the impact when our player steps. We heavily relied on AE Juice for this video, and it really helped up our production value and make this video a lot more dynamic and visually interesting than it would have been if we'd been trying to recreate all these effects manually. So going back to the AE Juice Pack Manager homepage, you can see the multitude of packs of the AE Juice I Want It All bundle offers, and there were 3 that I'm really keen to check out, and these were the old film constructor, the VHS, and the seamless transition. So I'm just gonna make sure I've got them all downloaded now. And as a note here, I really love the Pack Manager interface. You can work with different packs just like you would compositions in After Effects or timelines in Premiere. So you can go through and quite quickly navigate between them, close them down, and keep your workspace nice and tidy to make sure you're working as efficiently as possible. So let's take a look at using these 3 packs on a project. Now, we recently filmed this baseball piece, and it was quite a traditional edit, not too many effects, not too many transitions. So let's have a look at recutting it and see if we can make it more dynamic, perhaps for a social style edit using the AE Juice plugins. So starting with old film constructor, I've got my shot imported into After Effects here. And the first thing I want to do is add one of the classic film frames. I'm going to scroll down to film frame 16:9. I'm going to drag this frame onto my composition. There we go, and that's looking good already. I'm going to try and add a bit of grain into it as well. Let's go something quite subtle. Just going to drop this nice subtle film grain into the composition. Just going to take the opacity down to 25%. And then finally, just a subtle bit of film burn to really complete the effect. Fantastic. And I can keyframe it as well to really customize it and get exactly the look I'm going for. And there we go. Nowadays, that Super 8, Super 16 old film look is really, really popular, and it contributes to that mixed media effect that gets used quite a lot in social content, using a mix of old film looks, VHS, photos, lots of different media types, and that can really help your social content be a lot more visually interesting and keep the viewer engaged. So for this shot, I'm going to try the VHS pack to bring in a mixed media VHS look to add to the Super 8 film look we've got in the previous shot. And scrolling through, the first thing I want to add is a bit of the classic VHS distortion. So we've got the distortion effect on our composition. It's looking really, really cool, probably a little bit too strong for this project. So I'm just going to take the opacity again down to about 25. Scrolling through the packs, there's lots of classic interfaces and overlays that you find on VHS films that you can add here. I'm going to add camera interface 04 to this composition. Now it's really starting to look like VHS. The final thing I've noticed, these zooms at the bottom to really bring in that old sort of camcorder VHS look. And for a static shot like this could be really useful. So I'm going to add in Zoom 05, just nice and subtle, drop that into my composition. There you go, all finished, all put together, and the mixed media looks really starting to come together now in this edit. And lastly, looking at the seamless transitions pack, we've got 2 shots from the edit here, a 2-shot sequence that will cut together quite nicely. I'm going to open up the seamless transitions pack. I like the look of these form transitions, so I'm going to try one of these. So I'm going to bring this form transition into the composition. I really like that. I'm going to try something else just as we're here, to see what else we could have done. Let's try this one, try basic transform. So again, looking at those 3 packs, the biggest benefit for me is the fact they allow you to do things that are very time consuming in After Effects to create manually, very quickly and easily, drag and dropping them onto your compositions. So again, speeding up your editing and helping you work a lot more efficiently. Now, as a production company, a large part of our work is documentaries, and 2 particular plugins that really caught my eye that I thought could be really useful for documentary work are the Messenger Toolkit and the Newspaper Constructor. In documentary work, you'll often find that your subjects will retell stories that involve conversations or events that you don't have B-roll for, and adding animations to visually display these conversations or headlines really helps support your story, as well as keeping the viewer visually engaged. So looking at the Messenger Toolkit here, it's got 3 options for phone conversations that you can drag and drop quickly and easily onto your project. And then here, lots of controls that you can quickly change to start telling your story. And you can quite quickly and easily adapt the text to be able to retell a conversation that's happened. And then diving back and looking at the Newspaper Constructor. Speaking from experience, the newspaper is an effect that really does take a lot of time in After Effects to recreate properly and make it look good. There's some fantastic 3D ones here to work with. And if you dive back into the AE Juice Pack Manager main window and scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a store tab. And here you can see all the additional packs that you can purchase as well. And what I really like about this is that if you download a pack, You can see all the assets that's contained in it, so you're not guessing, there's no fear of what am I buying, you know exactly what you're going to get. And if you like the look of the pack and want to purchase it, the buy now button's here, you can quickly, easily buy it and start to use these assets in your project right away. So in conclusion, if you're a regular After Effects user and wanting to incorporate more into animations, the AE Juice plugins are a really helpful addition. The elements are really simple to use, they're drag and drop, but if you want to get the most out of them, you will need a fairly decent understanding of After Effects and how the program works in order to manipulate them and use them effectively in your compositions. I think my favourite thing about AE Juice is the simplicity of the interface. Having all your elements in After Effects ready to use in one place, and not having to worry about finding them from various sources on the internet and delinking them and all that hassle. AE Juice really eradicates the difficulty of working with lots of media in After Effects and makes your life much, much easier. If you've liked the look of AE Juice and want to check it out further, you can have a look in the link in our description below.